Hi everyone, long time no see. Good to be with you in Ottawa after Montreal. Ça fait plaisir de vous voir maintenant à Ottawa. On était à Montréal pendant les dernières 2 journées. Look, I think it's really important that while I'm here in Ottawa, I have a conversation with the media. I think that as a leader, it's important to have an ongoing dialogue with Canadians. And one of the things that I'm committed to doing as Prime Minister is to ensure that that ongoing dialogue continues. We need somebody who can go toe-to-toe, head-to-head with Pierre Poilievre, Yves-François Blanchet, and Jagmeet Singh on day one. I clearly demonstrated that I am ready to go, to debate, and to win the next election. What I want to say is that it was so great to have 4 people on that stage who bring so much talent, so much energy, and so many ideas to our party. And I'm here today to say that when I become Prime Minister, I'm going to invite every single one of those folks on the stage to be a part of my team. We need Mark Carney when it comes to the economy.
We'll agree on Hamas, on a two-state
No, we don't agree with
solution.
Hamas. No, we're against
yes,
Hamas,
we're all against
absolutely.
Hamas. We are.
We need Chrystia Freeland when it comes to foreign affairs.
They want to work with us. It's time for us to step up at home, to urgently reach out to them and build a new world order where democracy and Canadian sovereignty is protected.
And we need Frank Baylis when it comes to health. And so we need to ensure that as a Liberal Party of Canada, we are the big tent party. Look, I'm a progressive. I'm not afraid to say that. I'm proud to say that. But the Liberal Party is best when we are a big tent, when we do social policy well and we do fiscal responsibility. And so for me, making sure that the Liberal Party of Canada is home to that diversity of opinion in the Liberals is something that is going to be extremely important to me as Prime Minister. And that's why today I'm inviting each one of those leadership candidates to join my team so that we can be Team Canada and do the best things for Canadians.
As you're calling for everybody to be part of the team, a little bit of a contrast from yesterday where you were taking shots at some of your opponents. Do you think that your strategy of going after some of your opponents could actually gain you support and make more of a mark for Liberals, or is it friendly fire that may backfire on you?
Look, yesterday was a debate, right? The day before was a debate. And I came to have a debate because I think that's not just what Liberals are looking for, but that's what Canadians are looking for. We are in the midst of choosing who will become the next Prime Minister of Canada. As candidates, we owe it to Liberals and we owe it to Canadians to clearly outline what our vision is. And look, this is where I have been for the last 10 years. I debate in Parliament. A debate is not a scary thing for me. Talking to the media is not a scary thing for me. These are parts of the job of being a politician, of being a member of Parliament, and being a Prime Minister. But what I will say is that what I saw on the stage over the past 2 days is that we have talent here. And the point is that every single one of us needs to be part of the team. And again, Mark Carney on the economy. We need his ideas on the economy.
Wanting to get your thoughts on Mark Carney and your relationship with him while you were Prime Minister of the United Kingdom, and any advice you have to Canadians who think he might make a good Prime Minister.
Well, Mark Carney was Governor of the Bank of England, and under his tenure, too much money was printed, which did damage to the British economy and put our economy off track. He, at the last election, endorsed Rachel Reeves' economic policy. She's now become Chancellor. It's been a disaster for Britain. The country is heading for bankruptcy.
Chrystia on international affairs. We need her ideas. Frank had some great ideas on healthcare. I want them to be part of my team. And yesterday, it was a conversation in the family. But that was like easy in comparison to what's coming in the debate in the general election. I had kid gloves on. You know, when it comes to the actual debate, it's going to be a lot tougher than anything I did yesterday.
Are you saying they'd be cabinet ministers in a government you lead?
Absolutely. You know, I hope that both Mark and Frank decide to seek a seat in the House of Commons. That is something that is really important to be in politics. And I absolutely want, if they are interested and if they want to be part of my team, they have a place on my team.
some of them
yourself?
being conservative light. Will you be telling your supporters to pick a specific second or third choice? And will you be making any deals with other candidates?
Nope. My supporters it's up to them to decide who they will support. But what I want to say to Liberals today is that after the performance of the past 2 days, I think they know in their hearts who did the best and who is best placed to defend Liberal values and who is best placed to lead our party into the next election. You know, we need to have somebody who can go toe-to-toe, head-to-head with Pierre Poilievre and who can win. Debates matter, elections matter, and I know that I'm the leader that can win us the next election.
Can I ask you to introduce yourself?
Sorry, that is a media scrum. Let's do our job.
Okay. Could I ask you who you are?
You criticize some of your colleagues as being conservative light. Who were you talking about? Was it Mark Carney? Was it Chrystia Freeland?
What I was saying is that now is not the time for us to play it safe as Liberals. We should be proud of our record and our accomplishments, but we also need to understand where we need to do things differently. But using Pierre Poilievre's language, talking Canada down, putting forward ideas that quite frankly aren't going to help, you know, every single Canadian or the most vulnerable is not who we are as Liberals. And I'm saying to our party members, what I am saying to Liberals is that now is the time for us to be grounded in who we are as Liberals and not to be conservative light, but to be proud of who we are and to put forward a plan and a vision that is a Liberal one.
But who were you talking about? Were you talking about Mark Carney, who's using the same conservative language as Pierre Poilievre?
I think if you listen to the debate, you will hear that there were a number of my colleagues who were using some of the same language and some of the same ideas as Pierre Poilievre. And quite frankly, Pierre Poilievre does not have a positive vision for this country. The ideas he's putting forward are not going to help Canadians. And Pierre Poilievre is not who we should be trying to emulate as Liberals or as Canadians. We don't need a Timbit Trump up here. What we need is someone who's actually going to stand up and fight for Canada.
Some of your opponents, especially on housing, are mirroring Pierre Poilievre's policies. The GST, no GST on new housing, other things like that. Is that what you're talking about when you're saying they're mirroring his policies?
That's one of the things, right? But so the no GST on new housing, that's not going to help low-income Canadians who are struggling to pay rent or even get into housing. That's not going to help end homelessness. That's not going to help build millions of new homes in a quick way. That is something that is only going to help people who have the money to put down a down payment in the first place. Whereas what I'm putting forward is to say, let's help first-time homebuyers really get into the market. Let's increase the first-time homebuyers incentive from 5 to 10% to 50% so that they can actually get in and then they can buy back their equity over time or sell it back to the government when they sell their house. So I'm putting forward a bold, ambitious plan on housing that is actually going to solve the housing crisis.
The Liberal Party has fucked over Canada for the last 10 years.
Sorry? For people that are supporting the other candidates, why should you be a second pick on their ballot?
Yeah, well, first of all, I hope you choose me as your first choice, but you know, I am very excited to be in this race and I am putting forward bold ideas for our country, and I'm somebody who can bring a different demographic along. You know, last night in the English debate, there was a question about why young people have left the party. Well, the issues that we were talking about, yeah, young people care about them, but we weren't talking about many of the issues that are on the minds of young people right now. We came into office in 2015 because we harnessed that potential for Canada. And I'll be honest, look, we got away from the grassroots, we got away from people over the past 9 years. And people felt like we were out of touch. You know, the moment when inflation was getting out of control, as a government, we were more focused on how well we managed the pandemic, which we did do really well.
Are you serious?
And less on the crisis that people were feeling in that moment. And so we need to ensure that we are truly listening to Canadians. And I think what folks would have heard over the past couple of days is that I'm the candidate that listens to the grassroots, that's connected in community, and that is focused on people.
But why should they believe that if over the last 9 years you were part of a government that did get away from the roots? I mean, why didn't you help stop that then?
Well, certainly I raised my voice, and that's something that, you do when you're part of a team. And I pushed those issues forward. And I'm proud of a lot of the things that we did. But I recognize where we made mistakes. And look, I'm not too proud to say, we didn't get things right. That there were times when we weren't listening to Canadians. And so I've done a lot of reflecting as a leader, as a Canadian, as a mother, about when that moment was and what we could have done differently. So look, I'm not going to say I'm perfect. I'm not going to say that I got everything right. But what I am going to say is that I recognize the mistake we made, and my commitment to Canadians is to be listening.
Prime Minister is doing is massively increasing the drug overdose crisis in this country. He has been providing taxpayer dollars for high-powered drugs that have flooded our streets and lowered the cost of hydromorphine on the streets by as much as 95% in Vancouver, leading to the deaths of 30,000 Canadians. Will the Prime Minister back away from his reckless plan to join with the NDP in BC and decriminalize crack, heroin, and other deadly drugs?
And to ensure that me and my team, we are listening to Canadians and making the decisions that are going to be best for them at that time. I am not in the business of seeking a deal at this moment in time, and what I can say is that I'm going to put forward the plan that I think is going to meet the moment for Canadians, and it will be up to the other parties to decide whether they want to join that or not. And I look forward to getting back to Parliament and delivering for Canadians.
What does your path to victory majority is across? What do you say to some of your colleagues that think you maybe went a little too hard on this?
Oh, it was a debate last night. I mean, what we were supposed to have was a debate of ideas and a conversation about the future. I mean, that is the whole point of this leadership race. The leadership race is not about saying that we're all the same. It's about putting forward different points of view so that the Liberal members of the party, remember, caucus is one constituency, but they are 150 odd members of 400,000 people across this country who are going to make an informed decision. Look, debates matter. It's how people see what their leaders are putting forward and what their vision of the country is.
And didn't get Canada defended, did not work with our democratic allies to protect our borders. They want to work with us. It's time for us to step up at home, to urgently reach out to them and build a new world order.
So it should be an opportunity for us to have a conversation, and we should be okay with that as Liberals. I mean, one of the things that we talked about as a caucus was making sure that we had space for a robust debate. And so I would hope that all of my colleagues would want to see that in a leadership debate as well.
I was wondering what your path to victory looks like. What are you going to be doing in the next week and a half to make sure you're the next leader?
Yeah, well, look, first of all, it's listening and talking to Liberals across this country. It's engaging with folks right across the country, and it is continuing to have an open dialogue with Canadians. I have heard so much positive feedback right from the beginning, but honestly, the momentum just keeps on growing and keeps on building, and I'm going to keep doing that for the next 10, 11 days of this leadership contest.
We've heard from a couple of readers who are saying they've had problems with the Canada Post verification aspect. Has your campaign heard about anything with that?
We've had some people who have had issues. I did it. It was fine. Oftentimes it was just a matter of making sure that they had all of the information that they needed. And if they can't do it through the verification app, most Canada Post offices are helping people do that. But we found that generally speaking, people are able to get through it, but the party is also helping folks make sure that they get verified. So. Well, the Liberal Party of Canada is not meant to have groupthink. We're not supposed to think all the same way. That's not democracy. that is how we're supposed to do that engagement. And what attracted me to the Liberal Party of Canada was that robust space for debate. And as I said, we are a big tent party. We need people on the entire spectrum within liberalism, those are more socially progressive, those that are more fiscally conservative, that we can bring together to get the right policies for Canada. And so look, I don't agree with the idea of having two budgets. My government would have one budget. I think that's important for Canadians, for transparency, for international standards. But that being said, Mark Carney has excellent experience on the economy. I think having him in my cabinet helping on economic issues is going to be something that is good for Canada. Chrystia Freeland, I don't agree with everything that she has done, but she did really well defending Canada and protecting us when it came to Donald Trump the first time. We're going to need her expertise. And Frank Bayless, look, he has tremendous ideas when it comes to healthcare. I want all of those ideas to form part of a Gould cabinet.
What do you disagree with Chrystia Freeland on then? You just said she did some things you didn't agree with.
Yeah, look, I think when it comes to the provinces, we needed to be more standing up for Canadians and less standing up for premiers. We heard it last night during the debate when she gave a shout out to the premiers and acknowledged how hard their work is. I don't disagree that the work of a premier is hard, but your job as Prime Minister is not to be the Prime Minister of premiers, it's to be the Prime Minister of Canadians. And when I think about the health transfers, I agree with sending health transfers to the provinces. And if we need to increase the spending because that's what is called for, we should do that. But we need outcomes. And Canadians deserve transparency. They deserve accountability. And it's not that the premiers need to do that for the federal government. They should be doing that for their citizens, because that money comes from the same person, whether it's being collected by the federal government and sent to the province. Canadians deserve transparency and accountability when it comes to health outcomes. I would have done that differently. Thank you so much. Merci tout le monde. Bonne journée. Thank you.